Hey everybody, new update came out. Decided to come back and elaborate a bit on some changes. Primarily this time I'm just going to go over the changes to Sabotage, which, to be fair, I've only run one or two of them, so if I'm missing on some of the details, I apologize. But they've effectively changed Sabotage a little bit, so it's something more than just run to point, interact with console, pop out cores, blow up cores, run away from ship. They've implemented a way of actually tying environmental effects into the mission, which is kind of neat. So I thought I'd come back in here and show that off. That way, if there is any questions on 2.0 version here, Sabotage, then it'll be right there, and we'll all know it. Now, as with how Sabotages were before, there are hidden caches that you can, caches, however you prefer to say it, I guess, that are hidden across the different little nooks and crannies of the stage that if you want to go after, you can, and they have all kinds of loot in them, and maybe you want them, maybe you don't. If this were a Void mission, I would probably be doing it because it gives me more rolls at the Void loot table, but this being a normal mission, not going to give me any primed rewards, so I don't really care at the moment, so to speak. Nothing in here I really need from those. Now, as was before, you can see I'm kind of just navigating through the stage here, working my way to the objective. Nothing really super different in that regard. It's more of when you actually get there, there's slight differences. I guess since it's taking a little while to get there, now would also be a great time to point out that they've upgraded our mini-map up there, and you can actually see bad guy markers and the likes. For the limited time they're alive enough to be shown anyways. So you keep going, you find yourself the room with which they hide their goodies, as any good bad guy would. Now, I saw this door before, and I was wondering if there was a way to get there, and unless there's some kind of a fancy thing with these wheels here like this, you're not going to find any sneaky little hidden door pathway to get in there. So you're going to have to blow those up if you want to be able to get into this. Pop out a core. If you want to take it with you, you can take it with you. Otherwise, you can just leave it here because you're going to be going right to another one. And of course, now we navigate right back. And we can drop right down in here. And if we want to, we can leave this right down here because this is where we're coming back to. We don't really have to. I'm just doing it for the sake of just having it in the same spot as the other one. But again, super not necessary. I'm just keeping myself slightly amused. Alright. Again, we see we have another little interesting trap door going on right there. So we're going to need to kind of look around here. Again, we've got fancy little wall laser engine things. Bust both of those, and now we should find we can walk right up in here without any issues. Now there's a couple different variations on the rooms that you can go to. There was one room that I went to in a previous run that was just chock full of enemies. It was kind of like the enemy sleeping quarters. And of course this is, just a Grenier run. But you'll see that now we got all these different little spots that we can pick to slap in there. I've already done the fuel one, so we're going to try a different one here. And we get all nice and charged up in there. Now it's going to have us come up here. And little tiny hack. And this will expose our cores. And this is where it kind of turns into a more typical thing. Had I used the heat one, the actual core nodes vent, having used this one, we want to keep those alive. I know it's kind of goofy that I'm telling you to keep them alive after just stabbing them, but you know. So if you're doing a more of a solo run, maybe it would be better to use, say, the fire one, as you don't really have to defend anything with a fire one. It's more the typical sabotage where you just run up and blow it up. But if you're looking to just beat up on a bunch of dudes, maybe you'd like this one better since it's more of a defense. At the same time, this kind of adds a nice little change of variety into things, as now there is this little different path you can take depending on the mood that you're in. Nice second, now this will be done. You see we get this huge little screen overlay going on here. Let us know that that's done. And you'll also see that the environmental effects are now around. You can see the ice there. As we run in here, all this is iced over. So you get this nice kind of feedback going on depending on the style that you picked. If you had gone with the overheating and exploding method, everything's on fire. Some of the rooms are just plain hot. It's nothing necessarily game-changing over what we've been through before, but it is just a nice little touch. Because before, you just walk into a room and, oh no, it's slow. And you'll see, ice makes you slow. Or, oh man, this place is on fire. And it was kind of nice because it made it look as though, at least in the case of the fire, the ship or whatever you were in looked more like it was already engaged in battle before you got there, like it had taken damages. But it's nice to be able to cause those things in this mission type now as well. And since you kind of have the choice in it, do I want to go with the heat? Do I want to go with the cold? You can kind of affect it more in a way that's easier for you to handle. So if I'm using something with, you know, low health or something, maybe I don't want to have fire all over the place lighting me on fire and doing damage. Maybe if I'm doing something that's more of a energy-based thing, I don't want to lose my shields because of the ice. Maybe I don't want to get slowed down all the time because of the ice. So you have more control over it, and it's a nice little thematic kind of thing. Outside of that, I mean, that would be Sabotage 2.0. It's very similar to what you've had before. There's a little bit of minor tweaks in there. Interesting tweaks, nothing really game-breaking. You'll find that there's a whole different variety of frames you can use on these just fine. I did the fire one with a Loki, went through, nobody saw me. All the same stuff that you would normally have fun with in a Sabotage type mission. That's Sabotage 2.0. Any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section below. I will try to answer them to the best of my ability or when I get the chance. Likewise, if you have any tips or tricks, feel free to add those down there for other players, because that's what tutorials are all about. Until next time, everybody keep having a good time.